Hi, I'm Pauline with MyAlteredState, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to use Gorilla Epoxy. The project I'm working on is a natural wood tray where I use Gorilla Epoxy to fill the gaps and seal up rough edges. You're about to see how easy it is to fill uneven gaps and imperfections while preserving the wood's natural beauty. First, I secured 2 thin strips of wood to the underside of the tray with glue and nails. Then I used painter's tape along the gap to keep any epoxy from seeping through. You'll notice that I'm not wearing gloves in this video, however, it is recommended that you do so. The packaging can be used for mixing along with the stir stick that is included. Since Gorilla Epoxy sets in 5 minutes, I like to mix a small amount as I go along to avoid wasting any of it. Scrape all the sides on your container and front and back of your stir stick while mixing. You should continue mixing well for at least 20 seconds. And now I'm ready to fill that gap. I scrape a small amount at a time on my stir stick and apply by drizzling it along the crack and letting it settle down in. It's okay if glue gets on top where I don't want glue to be, because after it sets and cures, I'm going to go ahead and sand it off. Here's another angle of the epoxy being applied into the gap. As I'm doing this, if I encounter air bubbles or anything like that, I can use a straight pin to take care of it. To ensure that I get a flat surface in the end, I over apply and later sand it down. Sometimes if I don't want to wait for gravity, I'll take a hard edge and scrape it, forcing the epoxy down into the crack. I will need to do another layer of this later. This is the rough edge that I'll use epoxy on. I want to keep this natural look, and the epoxy will go down into the grooves and seal it in nicely. To spread it on, I'm going to use a business card because it's flexible and it's flat and I can throw it away when I'm done. I scrape it with the card like this and simply spread it on, keeping it smooth and getting it down into those grooves. After the epoxy has had time to cure, I go ahead and use sandpaper to remove the excess. And this is a closer look after I remove all the dust. The final step is 2 coats of polyurethane. So as you can see, I have a nice flat surface, no gaps right here, and the epoxy filled it quite nicely, and I still have that natural edge exposed. And here's our finished look. Here's a rundown of Gorilla Epoxy. It works on metal, wood, ceramic, glass, and most plastics. It sets in 5 minutes, dries clear, strong, and water resistant.